Greetings to you, friends. So, an exciting topic. Psychoactive substances, psychoactive drugs, and meditation. How are they related? The thing is, friends, that the meditative state is primarily a state of no mind. This is a state where you can, in a mindful state, discover the distance between yourself as an observer and the thoughts inside your head, and create a sense of separation. When you start to observe the thoughts inside your head, especially closely, without judgment, without, so to speak, being for or against, yes, not fighting, but you. Purely, sincerely, as if questioning, look at who is actually speaking, or just look, without ideas. Then, the person speaking there somehow becomes not exactly uncomfortable, but it feels as if, in the light of your consciousness, this speaker indeed loses their power, meaning they become vulnerable. And it seems there's no point in speaking anymore, like some kind of petty talk, and just like that, it's all over. Meditation is when, in the end, all those voices inside you capitulate, they surrender, and there is no need for them to speak. The meaning of their speaking disappears because there is no one to talk to, and there is no need to. And there arises a kind of calm, an emotional calm, a mental calm, yes, a monumental, good, and confident tranquility. And in this calmness, nothing happens. At first, it seems like, so what? But later, over time, you gradually begin to notice that in this state, it becomes more and more pleasant to breathe. It becomes pleasant to simply be. In other words, you truly relax. You are kind of filled with this lead. Yes, some kind of strength, some kind of light. Suddenly, you begin to realize you have many right ideas, brilliant ideas. Some space opens up. The hands become activated, the feet become activated, a kind of warming begins, warmth inside. Some special effects are happening. The further it goes, the deeper it gets, the more there is. And interestingly, this state of no mind is not the same as dying cells. There has been some spread of all these psychoactive substances. They have practically legalized them everywhere, and it's unclear what will happen next, but it's harmful. Just imagine. No matter what wonderful discoveries these acids might indeed provide, and how great it might be in that state, with all those spiritual revelations, yes, from the prenatal period or some other unpacking and so on, yes, friends, it's true, a certain kind of work is happening there. But I can say once again that there is a big difference between intoxication and the death of brain cells. They are dying, synapses are being silenced. In other words, these neural connections within the brain, which are crucial for various cognitive functions and processes, are disrupted. The brains of people who consume drugs become like Swiss cheese. Naturally, there is, in essence, a subtle indication of it. Of course, meditation and practice. But it's not that kind of meditation. It means your awareness of oneself, control over control through attention, and the proper redistribution of your own potential. And understanding. You are learning on how to effectively and efficiently manage one's own psyche and endocrine system in a comprehensive manner. And it's a completely different matter if this chemistry comes from outside. It's an entirely different process. It's just substance dependency. In essence, it's simply a disruption of the central nervous system, a disruption of brain function. This is a serious disaster, a significant problem, meaning it is the burning and destruction of those valuable and essential connections in the brain that, when properly structured, organized, and arranged, can lead to good, productive, and effective work. So, to put it in essence, indeed, in a very concise manner and simply, any intoxication, any psychoactive drugs, have nothing to do with meditation practice. These are similar effects against the backdrop of the death of a large number of brain cells, spinal cord cells, central nervous system cells, and other related cells. When these cells die, undoubtedly, a person feels as if they are experiencing a halt, and they begin to see themselves from the outside. You see, indeed, in this work, this expansion of consciousness and much of the work in your subconscious. The process of going deeper into yourself is all truly manageable and controllable. You don't pull away. You start to slightly shield yourself. You feel that the structure is certainly right, and you have gone further to grow. When you have some chemistry in your blood, you can no longer hide. It forces you to confront yourself. Is your consciousness ready to experience this bubble of perception it is not ready? And if she is not ready, then you will just create another dysfunction. Instead of entering a state of being here and now, looking within oneself with the light of consciousness to illuminate one's personal challenges and issues, reevaluate them thoroughly, let go completely, release fully, shed this negative potential. Instead, a person gets caught up in it, because the consciousness cannot process what they are currently perceiving. Accordingly, it will be blocked in the subconscious and pushed somewhere into certain muscles, where it will press where it will push, and there this experience will be constantly relived. This is, in fact, yet another psychological trauma. And such psychological traumas during a trip. A person can indeed experience so much that it can hardly be called therapy for those who truly understand what inner work is, for those who genuinely seek this incomprehensible neo-shamanism with its unclear elements and unclear practices of doing who knows what. It's unclear why, unclear with whom the communication is happening, and unclear what is actually going on there, because a large part of these people ends up, of course, attracting entities. All of this becomes undeniably even more fascinating, and then incredibly tragic, for people who truly understand the value of health, who indeed realize that creating balance and harmony is much more difficult than breaking it apart. It quickly becomes clear that this is a step in the wrong direction, significantly impacting our lives and society as a whole. This is the wrong direction. This is not the way at all. Well, now, thank goodness, we have learned to photograph. In a way, the work of synapses inside the brain, in a manner of speaking, what we see in the moment, and afterwards, and after a year, and after 5, and after 7 uses, is that it does not recover that quickly. Even 5 to 7 years do not allow the brain to recover. The disruptions that occur within the brain and the central nervous system, which are responsible for various functions like cognition, emotion, and motor skills, cannot be restored by a single dose of psychoactive drugs within a typical time frame of 5 to 7 years. This process is complex and involves multiple pathways and mechanisms. So, well, we won't go into all sorts of different kinds of things. I've seen various films on the internet that prove that all of this helps with cancer, and I don't know. In fact, friends, this is really a lie. It doesn't help. It doesn't help. Believe me, I focus on health. Yes, it doesn't help. Any intoxication in any form is detrimental to your health. It is poison. It is something that, over time, kills you. Naturally, if you systematically kill yourself, eventually something will break. In other words, simply put, you just add a load and test your strength. Yes, many strong guys, I won't argue. But everywhere there is a limit. Everywhere there are mathematical indicators. Therefore, when the load exceeds the structure's ability to bear the load, somewhere where it is weaker, it breaks. And when we talk about subtle structures, when the psyche breaks, these changes are irreversible. In other words, a person becomes a little strange, develops a slight tic, something else appears, some kind of smile. And that's it, the nervous system has burned out. It can't be restored, right? Well, maybe, I don't know. Perhaps there are some really super practices that can help to restore everything. But from the people I know, on the contrary, there is even further deterioration, and this cannot be considered a spiritual practice. Not at all. It doesn't matter who said what. It doesn't matter what Osho said. It doesn't matter what they were doing in their commune. It doesn't matter what Gurdjieff or anyone else wrote about how it could help quickly, or what kind of immortality pills the Taoists concocted. Friends, it's all nonsense. Nonsense. Seriously, the incredible and transformative journey a master can take you on, if you are truly prepared and open to new experiences. And how you can perceive it is something that those who ride all these carousels could never even dream of, beyond imagination. Once again, friends, for me there is a very clear distinction. All these intoxications are drug addiction. This has nothing to do with spiritual growth, self-improvement, or anything else. All attempts to tie this to some spiritual practices in any way to justify that this can indeed be accomplished only indicate that a person is in an attempt trying to find an escape from the mundane in order to enter those spaces, to explore those realities, whether external or internal, as a way to flee from the reality in which they find themselves here and now. In other words, his sobriety, his vision with the clear eye of this reality says one thing: I cannot be here. This is very, very powerful for me. It's such a truly powerful experience that I'd really rather escape into some illusory world, or it would be easier for me. It's a straightforward addiction, a straightforward escape. From the work of the soul that a person is indeed truly required to perform. In essence, every person is engaged in spiritual work, and this is a continuous journey. Does he know this or not? It doesn't have any real significance. The point is that a person experiences the experience. Every second, this experience is the spiritual growth of the soul, meaning that the more experience one has, the more experienced the soul becomes. The more life it has lived, the more it has gone through, the wiser it is, the more valuable it is, and the more substantial it is. When a person cannot experience the events of their life in any meaningful way, they want to find a way to escape from it for one reason or another. His parents, family, and friends are pressuring him. It doesn't matter. Some processes work. And here it is, finally Friday. That's it. This only indicates that what he is doing is madness. The life he lives in his inner world, his sincere, true desires, aspirations, and his own personal internal, correct mechanisms were completely disregarded. They had to be utterly trampled upon, and ultimately, he had to push his creativity, his desire to live, grow, and develop somewhere far away and suppressed, to the office, to work, or whatever in their daily routine. Why do people try to escape from the life they are living? Because they don't like their life. They are terrified by this life. Therefore, it is important to understand that no energies are needed. All energies are expressed in matter around you. Everything around you is you. This is your life, expressed in all the energy that you have. It is expressed around you through your processes, your life, your This is your room. This is your inner world. See the order here. This is your order in the mind. Look carefully at the procedures that are happening around you. These are the procedures that occur in your inner world. If this is not what you want, if there is a strong dissonance between your soul's true request, your real inner potentials, and what you are actually experiencing, there will be an internal conflict, and you will try to escape from this reality. It doesn't matter where. In fact, you can escape into practice. One can escape into practice and do some asanas, engage in practice, burn candles, set up altars, and so on. And in this way, you can just as easily escape from the life you don't like. You can escape further, I don't know, into the relationship with another person, into some other processes. The meaning is the same. You cannot perceive what is around you. You cannot perceive it calmly, soberly, and gain spiritual growth from this perception, becoming wiser and smarter simply by the fact that you can stop the internal dialogue and, with the light of your consciousness, delve into your structures and arrange them correctly. Even the very fact that you start looking there already initiates movement, because the light begins to shine in those areas where there is usually darkness, where these prompters reside. All sorts of snails, strange little crustaceans, yes, that are there both among themselves and whispering in your ear. The more chemicals you push into yourself, my friends, believe me, the more these snails and little crustaceans will multiply, yes, and then the octopuses will join in, and that's already a different story. On the contrary, it is important to take 20 minutes during the day for simple silence, to practice redirecting attention, to read the right books, to engage in the right practices, and to embrace the right flows so that the initiation transforms your structure. This way, the energy that has come can interact, and if there are any blockages, they can rise to the surface. By activating them, you will see them, and once you see them, you will be able to do something about them. The most important thing is to accept them. The problem for every addict is that they do not acknowledge that they are dependent. And at the same time, indeed, addiction can be to anything. That is, there can be an addiction to certain activities, to a particular person, to sugary foods, or to some special food. If you stop doing what you are used to doing, what gives you pleasure, what makes you feel good, like tea with 3 spoons of sugar, and then they skipped 3 spoons of sugar, unappetizing, and they didn't put it in the second time or the third. The runny nose started, and something felt wrong, and my head just hurt. And you can open this comprehensive guide on intoxication and heroin addiction. Withdrawal, yes. That's it, all the symptoms, feeling restless and broken. But why is there no sugar? The kind of sugar they usually eat. Addiction is a real issue. It's not advisable. Intoxication is a real issue. It's not advisable. Any mind-altering psychoactive substances have never been on the same level as real work on myself and my personal experience. I have always understood this as a violation, and I tell you clearly and precisely, this is all wrong. This is all a violation. If you want real work on yourself, it is right now. It is right here. It is all around you. It is indeed happening at this very moment. To truly see it, you just need to simply stop. To simply stop, you need to take care of the right structure. It is necessary for the shells to be closed. Then the impulse of the mind, completing a full circle, does not touch any holes or excitations, nor any channels, and there is no internal emotional surge, no mixing of thoughts inside the head, because the shells are closed, creating wholeness. In this wholeness, by observing one's inner world, everyone who is there and who is seeing something there takes their place. You just need to look inside without judgment, without even the desire to change anything there. Sometimes you just need to look. If you understand the structure, the central channel, the lower dantian, redistributing attention, and step back, you start to see things from a completely different perspective. You actually start to see what you would see under these psychoactive drugs. Only your mind remains intact. Your brain has improved. Your health has truly become stronger. And there was intoxication, and you became weaker. Your liver tensed up. Well, I won't list everything. We indeed experience all these feelings through cosmoenergetics. You activate the flow. You stand for 40 minutes. If you have this ancestral seal, it will be revealed. You'll actually see it, these cartoons, how things were, how they fought with swords, how it all went down, who did what to whom. All spiritual inner work is done with a crystal clear, sober, and focused mind, which makes the mind even clearer and smarter. Only this way. If a person has drifted into these intoxications, it means one thing: they have lost control, they have experienced a breach. They are already dragging him by the mustache. Those little demons, they are already feeding on him, showing him cartoons, and feeding him nonsense. This kind of shaman won't help anyone. He himself needs help. He is an addict, sick, and I have no other ideas on this matter. Light and love, friends, meditate with us.